He didn't put an outline together or nothing.
I literally told Jeremy, I was like, "Look, dude, we're homies. We don't do outlines with homies. We shoot from the hip, and we're gonna rock with it."
Oh, he never gave me that message. He never relayed that to me. So I'm like,
Yeah,
thinking
we
Jake's
don't.
got it under
I
control.
didn't think you and I relayed anything.
Jake's taking the wheel on this one. Cool.
There's no wheel. Jesus is taking this one.
Yeah, it is. Oh, but here we are, episode 203 of the Herpetoculture Podcast, which is part of the Herpetoculture Network, which is brought to you by BlackBoxCages.com. Check them out. Facebook, Instagram. Use code THN at checkout if you end up buying yourself a cage, buying a rack. Whether it's an XR16, XR20, BioG, XA3, all that good stuff. There's a ton of options. Go take a look at blackboxcages.com. You will not
be disappointed in any of it. Absolutely not. I've got a whole stack of equipment behind me right now. There's some to my right, some to my left. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere, surrounded on all sides. Yeah. It's like a fortress.
Yes, it is. So
soon
there will be more.
They drew for the winner of their giveaway just the other night. So congratulations. I believe his name was Caleb Freeman.
Yes. Congrats, Caleb.
Yeah. He's got a $500 gift card to put towards something nice.
Something real nice.
That's right. And then speaking of real nice, Steve Snaketuary and his hot sauce. That's real nice. That cottonmouth sauce, that's real nice.
Real nice and spicy.
We love it. Yes. Hop on over to stevesnaketuary.com. Get the whole set. Pygmy Rattler, Coral Snake, Copperhead. I think he's got a Canebrake or Timber. Can't remember. I think it's Canebrake. It was Canebrake.
Yeah.
The Cottonmouth, and he's got the Anti-Venom, which is the hottest one of all of them. So
get the whole set. We have not tried that one. We need to.
I know. I do. I need to. I want a bottle of the cottonmouth sauce just to have because we had like chicken tacos tonight, and I was like, those would have been amped up even more if I just had a little bit of that cottonmouth sauce.
Yeah, man. I had Moe's for lunch, and I was like, man, a little bit of cottonmouth sauce, a little bit of stack. Ugh. Sign me.
See, the weird thing is like I'm not into salsa verde or like green sauces and stuff like that, but that cottonmouth sauce is legit.
I'm honestly like I'm really into like mild. I'm into like mild hot sauce, but nothing crazy. But that Steve Snaketuary hot sauce was really, really good. It was hot, but it was flavorful. It's good.
Yeah,
gotta have that flavor.
Yeah. If you grab that set or maybe one or two bottles, anything from Steve's site, you're helping him out. He does a lot of public outreach, public education. Relocations, takes in some unwanted animals, sort of gets them back on the mend and finds new awesome homes for them, does all kinds of really good stuff. And he's a first responder, so help him out. Hot sauce sales directly help him do his job. So go give him a follow on all the socials as well. And then Full Views Apparel. Get yourself some shirts. Don't make it weird. Don't be naked. Get some nice stuff. Also use the code THN at checkout. That's 15% off just for THN listeners and viewers like you.
That should be your slogan. Don't be weird. Don't be naked.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like it.
Where it's peak nerddom and a lot of it. So
yes, very much so.
But I love it because if you're gonna make it nerdy, at least make it cool. So
that's right.
Very cool. Very cool.
Has the Pantherophis shirt hit the site yet?
Oh yeah. That's been a really good seller actually. So
of course it has been. You're welcome.
Yours is still here.
Yeah,
you haven't been in my house in like 2 months.
Yeah, I was actually planning on going to your house last week, but we ended up punting because I went to Florida last weekend for some business, and then this week I had
with who? Not just any. Going down to meet up with everyone's dealer.
Yeah, me and Kayla went down for just a day. If it was just me, I would have gone there just like there and back in one day because it really wasn't that far of a drive. But me and Kayla made a little spend the night out of it. So we had a good time. But yeah, I met up with Chris Montross to get 2 new projects and add on to one more. So that was cool. We'll get into that here in a bit. So last week, that's why we ended up punting last week. We didn't have anybody lined up, and I had a doctor appointment the next morning, and then me and Kayla had to get going. So it was had a lot going on, so we just decided to punt. And then yesterday, I just had a mild procedure, so still feeling a little groggy today. So decided to kick it at home.
Nerd.
So, I'm not a nerd. You're a nerd.
You know who says that? Nerds.
Nerds. Nerds.
I'm a nerd too, Jake.
Yeah, we're all nerds, man. If you listen to this
Yeah,
podcast, if you listen to this podcast,
Yeah,
note to self, you're a fucking nerd.
Yeah, you're pretty nerdy. Yeah.
That wasn't that aggressive with it, but what is new? Do you have any updates?
Yeah, I got a couple. I got a couple. First and foremost, the new, which by the way, anybody who knows about these Pasco County yellow rats I have them thanks to our guest today, Mr. Jeremy Hicks. He was very gracious and sent me his pair of adult Pascos. Unfortunately, the male has moved on to another life, very unfortunately, but it is not without complete loss. Got a lot of babies out of the female. And my double clutch hatched. Again, I only had 4. I got 16 the first round, and which was awesome. And then I had a double clutch of 4. Yeah, another clutch of 4 hatched. So all 4 of those are happy and healthy, and they all ate for me again, first time go. I was really worried about hatching yellow rats because I've heard like yellow rats can be a pain in the ass to get going, but man, these things are all 20 of them ate first time they were offered a frozen thawed pinky, no scenting, no nothing.
Freaking awesome.
Yeah, right out of the gate. So they were perfect. Those just ate for me the other day. So that's awesome. And so I've still got. I think I've got 2 pairs available if anybody's interested. Pretty much you're not going to see this locality with anybody else. They're probably the only ones out there right now. So really cool, fantastic little animals, and the variety in them is just insane, man. Like I wish I could get pictures of every single one because they're crazy, insanely variable. So that was great getting that second clutch going and eating. I mean, I couldn't ask for better results. All 4 ate frozen thawed. One of them ate off tongs. The others, I was kind of in a rush, so I just dropped it in front of them. One of them like tried to grab it as I was putting it down, so I know they all would have tong fed. But they all drop fed, no problem. And like I was saying, I met up with Chris Montross this weekend, and I got some pretty exciting stuff in. I added to my Apalachicola white oak project. I got another pair of those in because me and Chris did some trading. So I got some more Apalachicola white oak gray rats to add to my group. These are babies. I should be producing some next year or this season, actually. I got a pair that should be ready to go. So that's pretty cool. They should be producing. Got another pair just to add to the group. Really, really nice pair. They're beautiful. Then I added yet another locality of yellow rats. Chris produced some Pender County, North Carolina yellows, and I traded him a pair of the Pascos for a pair of those, along with the white oaks. I gave him 2.2. He gave me white oaks and Penders. So that's cool. And then the icing on the cake of it all, so Chris Painchad gave me 2 female 66% het A-male Gulf hammock rat snakes back in Daytona. So I had those. I wanted a visual male to add to the group, and I got a pair from Chris. I got a visual male and 100% het female A-male Gulf hammock rat snake from Chris. So I am beyond beyond excited about that project. Really new to the hobby. I think Chris and his partner are the only people really working with it right now. So super jazzed to be in on that and to actually have a visual male to plug into those girls. So 2 years, gonna try and prove them out. Luckily, the two posset females I have are way ahead of everybody. Like they could definitely breed next year. It's gonna take at least 2 years to get the male up to size, but I'm okay with that. So 2 years down the road, hopefully we'll see if we can't prove out those two girls. So super excited to be a part of that. Can't thank Chris enough for getting me in on that. So
yeah, man, that's a really cool project. That's
yeah,
really cool
the male is. I sent the pictures to a couple people, and I'm like, man, this picture does not do this thing justice, man.
no,
In the picture, it came out kind of yellow and whatnot, but dude, this thing is like white and orange. He's freaking crazy, man.
Is that the stuff that his what he's calling pale sided came from?
No, so the pale
Glades.
sides, the pale sides come from Glades County, Everglades. Yeah, those are Everglades rat snakes from Glades County. So those are also really cool. I don't have any of the pales. Technically, I have some from his group that produced pales, so there could be a chance I produce some down the road. I don't really know. But yeah, so those are really cool. It's actually funny. Now I have Glades County Everglades rats. I also have Glades County yellow rats, which are pretty cool. I picked those up in Daytona.
Nice.
Because I really like Everglades locality yellows. They have this really like washed out look that's really cool. So I'm really excited to raise those up and all. But yeah, I'm up to, I don't know, I think between 10 and 12 different locality of yellow rats now.
Damn, really?
Which, yeah, dude, it's kind of insane. I mean, if you include, because when I say yellows, I include Everglades and Deckerts and all those in the yellow type category. So if you include all those, yeah, I think I'm up to, I think it's 11 to be exact. But
I am surprised those haven't become more popular just overall, given the size and relative ease of working with and around them. And that's a species that I really do draw a blank as to why they never got to be more popular, aside from not coming in neon colors.
I think that's the thing. I honestly, I think the biggest thing behind yellows not getting more attention is they're not, and they never were really expensive snakes. Like people put value behind a number, obviously value is numbers, and I think that has a lot to do with it. Some of them are very flashy in my opinion. There's some yellow rats that are just out of this world. Some are a little bit more drab, and I love both. But I think if you're going to keep yellow rats, you really just have to love them. You're not going to make thousands of dollars off of a clutch. You're not going to make thousands off of one animal. They're not super expensive animals. I definitely think they should be worth more than they are, than the prices people put on them. But I mean, that's what I'm trying to do with all these localities, man, is to like just show how incredible these animals are. I love them with everything that I got, dude. Like they are my favorite snakes. And, they definitely need more attention, and I plan on giving it to them, man. Like that's the goal. Just bring some light to them.
Everyone needs a Rico
awesome
in their life.
That's right, man. Rico's the G, man. If I get lucky, now I don't know because I collected a female Hernando County yellow. At least we think it was a female. 3 of us probed it, and none of us were very good at probing, so I don't really trust myself with that. The tail looks male. Probe said female.
Send the shed off.
She hasn't shed. I don't know because that was the plan, and she hasn't. I've had her since May. Has not shed for me one time. Which is kind of weird. If anybody has, I've been meaning to bring that up and ask a few people. If anybody's got any theories on that, let me know. She eats fine. She has not lost any weight. She's been treated for internal parasites.
Could
Hoops
just
look
be.
good.
I mean, how old is she?
I don't know. She could be a pretty old animal. She's
That's what
not big. She's
I
not
guess.
huge. She's definitely an adult, but she's not massive by any means. But she eats every single week. She eats mice. She eats chicks without even thinking twice about it. So I don't really know what's going on with that because that was the plan. I was gonna send the shed off to get an exact sex on her, but I don't know. But if she ends up being female, I could potentially produce Hernandos this year. I don't really know yet. I
That'd
might
be
just
cool,
put
man.
them. I might just put them together and see what happens.
I mean, that's what I had to do with
There you
that
go.
one corn that I couldn't figure out if it
Yeah.
was a male or female because I had the same issue, and so I put it in with a female and to see if there was any reaction, and I put it in with another male, like a proven male,
Right.
and it was a boy because as soon as I put that female in there, it started doing the robot. So,
Mm-hmm.
well,
Yeah, I might
Yeah.
just might stick them together and see if they lock up because Rico wants it, man. I touch him with a hook and he starts doing a little
he's like,
bounce.
"Oh yeah,
He's like, "Let's go!" He wants it bad. So I don't know. I might just stick them together and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I would. I mean, I've definitely had animals that are, worked with animals that would probe um, indistinguishable,
Yeah,
Mhm.
and so you throw them in, and you find out pretty
yeah,
quickly.
yeah. No,
You
because
just gotta
like
you just gotta pay attention. That's all.
yeah, because she probed the Hernando probed 6 scales deep. And
Mm-hmm.
I asked Chris, I was like, because that's kind of on the verge. I asked Chris, and he said female, like no doubt. And I was like, all right, but looking at the tail, it's a thick tail, man. So I'm like, But again, you can't really go off of tails for everything. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be one of those things. Might just fuck around and find out. I don't know. So we'll see. That's pretty much all my updates, man. I'm starting to. I spent hundreds of dollars on tubs and a new metal rack recently to rearrange the room, and so that's hopefully happening this weekend. At least I've got a million holes to melt, um,
Ew.
which is it's just fun. I have I think it was 7. I think I got 710 quart tubs. Just put a bunch of grow out bigger rat snakes in for breeding and stuff. And dude, I have to put a million holes in those things. So it's just it sucks. So that's going to take me at least an entire day to melt holes and everything. But I'm excited. I'm ready to get it done, man, because the room's going to be completely different when it's all said and done. Everything's going to be a lot cleaner. So really excited about that. But other than that, man, everybody's rocking and rolling, just doing the thing. So what about you, Smitty? That was a little long-winded. What you got for updates?
Starting to wind down as far as feedings on the adults and stuff I plan on cooling. So gearing up for the great cool down come Thanksgiving. I usually I like to put stuff in my closet, which isn't connected to the central heating and air of the house, so it gets cooler than the rest of the house, but not as cold as it does outside. So I'll usually actually put stuff away in that closet for about a week before I really move them into the garage and really cool them down, just to kind of give them sort of instead of just flat out throwing them into the colder temperatures and stuff. I like to kind of give them a nice steady transition. It's definitely cooled off in the room at night. It's been pretty chilly here. Even right now, it's in the 50s, I think. So
Yeah,
cutting everybody off food.
that's been my thing as of late. Is it's cold right now, but I'm always afraid it's not going to stick, man. We always go through those waves, and that's why I usually wait till late December to really start pairing stuff up or really start cooling.
Mm-hmm.
But I have thought about just killing the room heat and cutting off food for a month, because pretty much everything except maybe the pits. I think the pits I would still put in the garage.
Yeah.
But I've really thought about just cutting off heat for the month and cutting off food and making it dark in here,
Mm-hmm.
and then pairing up that way.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. You know, because like it's all like it's a hard balance. Because like if you work like me, like Justin, you're a little different because you have a lot of Texas stuff, you know, but a lot of your stuff's also tropical, so like it kind of varies. For me, pretty much everything southeast, you know, other than so I've got some Texas rats, but those are growing up. I got some Texas bull snakes. Everything else is southeast or mostly Florida, if I'm being honest. So it's like, you know,
Florida
there's
doesn't even have seasons.
it gets chilly. It does. You know, when I wrecked Skylar's dirt bike, it was a solid 50 degrees out there. You know, so it definitely gets cold. You know, but it's more of a do they need it or is a light cycle better? You know, will light cycle trigger that? Um, so there's a lot of questions, man. A lot of people sometimes people just keep snakes together and they don't do shit, and all of a sudden they have eggs. So it's like,
JG at Silent Hill. I mean, that was his season last year. He was like, I'm cutting back. I'm not going to breed a lot. And then he somehow had like, I think damn near every one of his females go.
which I know I've heard y'all
Also,
say that so much.
He was putting pairs down together in brumation. So,
Wow. Yeah, because that was going to be my question. If he tried to have an off year, like, does he go have a lot of stuff and they just went?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
Which I did that last year. I cohab females when I cooled them, just so I didn't have, 20, 32 quart tubs with single snakes in it. You know, I'd put 2 females together in cooling.
I don't think that's
with no issues. And, I had no problems. It worked out. And, right now it's just I've cut everybody off food for the last 2-3 weeks, so just letting them sort of get the final clean out and start getting the bins prepped and everything, and then get them in cooling and start focusing, trying to see what's up with these green trees.
You still thinking about that?
Well, I have the one pair together, but there has been very little action on that front. But the days are definitely getting shorter. It's getting darker earlier, and the temperature in that room is dropping at night significantly.
Yeah. Honestly,
so
man, that might be all you need. Depending, what's your room dropping to at night?
House is at about 70 right now, so the room is going to be about that, if not a little cooler.
Dude, make it dark in there. Get in there minimally for about a month. Start sticking stuff together. You know, don't even put stuff in the garage. See what happens. You know, if your room's getting that cold, I would.
I'm not even sure as far as exactly what I'm pairing next year. I've got a sort of a short list in my head, but I definitely, with what I currently have going on as far as babies and stuff, it's gonna be a light year.
That's what they all say.
Yeah, I know, but me and Jeremy were talking while we were waiting on you to show up because you were late.
I was 2 minutes late.
I know. I'm kidding. Just like I haven't felt this overwhelmed and overloaded since the Cresteds, so it's kind of where I'm at. I was about to start handing out corns for trick or treaters.
The Oprah Winfrey of corns.
That's right.
You get a corn. You get a corn. Everybody gets a corn.
Like, look, I'm gonna give you 2 of these, and you're gonna get some awesome pied blood reds in about 4 years.
Now give me $50.
Then give me a Kit Kat.
Yeah, let me get a Kit Kat. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it was that female that double clutched, man, that like kind of set it over the edge. Like if it was just the one clutch of like 11, like it would have been fine. But she had that second clutch that doubled all of it. It was like shit.
She had another like 11 that hatched.
She had like a 22 or 23 baby, 23 because she had the twins.
Holy shit!
So
yeah,
there's a lot of babies right now. But I'm gonna pull the percentum off food. The rhinos are gonna go off food for a couple weeks.
Wait, are you pairing the percentum?
I'm planning to.
Percentum?
I'm planning to. I may put another meal or two in that female in particular. I don't know yet. I haven't really decided. The rhinos, they're definitely at a point where they could probably be cut off for a while. Because that pair's cohabbed. Maybe change it up and put the other male in next year. We'll see. Haven't really decided, but I was telling Jeremy too. I think sort of my game plan currently is to severely cut back on a lot of corns and sort of funnel that down to the castagna stuff and the locality stuff. And then sort of get back focused into green trees a little more, just because now that I have the ability to, like, I'm finally at the point with the smaller stuff I've been raising up, and then having that new girl, kind of back on track on the chondro front now as far as breedability and things like that. So
I'll say you get one chondro you can breed, and all of a sudden you're like, fuck corn snakes. We'll be chondros again.
yeah, you were just a placeholder.
What locality chondros are you sitting at right now? Are they all Biox or what?
As far as like actual locality stuff, yeah, it's Biox.
Cool.
Everything else I have everything else is quote unquote designer. And it turns out, I thought that I was male heavy, and it actually looks like it's the opposite. I'm female heavy, which I'm not complaining.
Yeah,
because I got one male. This male that I've got with that female from Brahms, he's been trying. He's definitely ready and willing. It's just the females that aren't giving it up. So we'll see. Just trying to get something to happen at some point with those again.
Yeah, but it'd be cool to see some more captive, Biox too, man.
Yeah, that's going to be a big thing with this bigger girl. To get back to offering something that isn't crazy high end as far as captive bred stuff, but better than wild caught. I think entry chondros is a good kind of term for them. It'll be nice to be having something to offer on that front.
Yeah.
So, man, the ones Brahms just posted up for sale. Oh my god!
I haven't seen them yet. So.
Smokers, man. There's one in particular. I was like, if I had the money.
I don't need to add another species.
Yeah,
but
chondros are different.
Like I'm still hunting for a northern emerald male.
Oh, you have an emerald?
Yeah, female. But finding a good male, it seems difficult right now. Something that's going to be healthy, I don't mind taking a chance with wild caught. I've done it, not really on a large scale, but probably in the teens as far as quantity in the past, and had fairly good success. So I'm not above it, but at the same time, I want it to be a good, good looking phenotype.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, chondros, man, I've always wanted chondros, but right now I can't add another species.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I feel you. I think I'm gonna add I do want a chondro, with just one, and I'm gonna buy a captive bred one and just hope it's a male, and then if it ends up being a male, I'm gonna be like, Justin, here you go. Breed it and don't kill it. That's gonna be the tactic.
Breed it and don't kill it.
Yeah, the emphasis on the don't kill it because it's a chondro.
Yeah.
It's not because it's you, not because it's you. It's not a dig on you. It's a dig on chondros.
They're not that bad, man.
Yeah, well,
from what I hear, they're even easier than emeralds, and I mean, I
Definitely don't think
just leave
there is.
mine alone.
Yeah, I don't think they're as sensitive as emeralds. That's for sure.
No.
Yeah, I just leave mine alone. As long as you have the parameters set right, just don't touch it.
I feel like that's
Don't
honestly like
Don't touch it. Don't breathe
that's
on it. Don't
such
look
a thing with like so many snakes. And even like your more
Mhm.
common ones, like I think so many snakes benefit from just like don't fuck with it. You
Yeah.
know, like don't touch it, don't be trying to handle it all the time, handle it minimally,
Yeah.
clean
I
it, give it
attribute
fresh
all of
water,
my
and just don't touch it.
all of my
Yeah.
pseudo success with the Jansenite is attributed to me just ignoring them.
Pretty much.
That's
I agree.
Chaz, right? Who's got a lot of Ganyosoma
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
has dealt with a lot of imports, and that's what he says, man. Just put it in a
Don't
box
touch
and don't touch it for 6
It's
months.
it's
While
not
you
a
activate
it's
it.
not a play with me group, man. It's not. They're not
No. I
pythons.
don't.
I feel
I
like
don't think. Yeah.
I feel like snakes in general. I mean, they're not dogs, man.
No.
Like that's the thing. The whole I live by the whole like they don't want like obviously they like to explore. Like I think snakes would have way more benefit of you having some type of jungle gym in your room, you
Mhm.
taking it out, plopping it on that, and then do your thing. Like they don't benefit from you physically. Like oh, it loves me. No, it doesn't. It
I don't know, man.
tolerates you.
Rhinos seem to enjoy it.
They want to explore. They just want to explore. Any snake that looks like it wants to come
They
out and
see
say
the food
hi. It
monkey come
wants
in, and
to
they're like, that means that maybe they'll let me out if I sit at the door of the cage and just
exactly.
stare at them. Maybe they'll understand what I'm trying to tell them.
The one of the best things I did, and I'm probably going to get another one once the room is redone. One of the best things I did. So when I was this was years ago, back when I was living at my parents' house. My mom had this like a drying rack, it was like one of those real tall,
Yeah.
like wooden
Yeah.
things that you would hang clothes on to dry off. I stole that thing because my mom never used it, and I would take a carpet out to clean it, and I'll just plop it on top of that, and I would go clean its enclosure, deep clean stuff, and they would go crazy, just all around that thing, going in and out, up and down. It was the best thing I ever did, man. Some of them would
Yeah.
go on the floor, start moving around, but snakes that want to go up, they just stay on top of that thing, man, and just cruise around. And it's a great thing, man. If y'all need something to just exercise your snakes a little bit
I
or something to
do
keep
that
them
with
occupied.
that new Biok girl. I need to get her moving a little more because she's a big one. She can afford to move around a little bit.
A little thick with 2 C's.
Dude, yeah, like it's ridiculous how heavy that snake is.
I still need to come see it. Like I haven't been at your house since you got her. I really need to come see her. Because like you posted a picture and she's just like she didn't look that big.
It's so hard to tell without context of something next to him.
And she is big as that
she's-
one girl that passed away.
She's
Close.
very close. I don't think she's as long, but she's definitely
Because that thing was
got
a
her on the weight front.
freaking
tank
dump
of a
truck.
Biok, dude.
That thing was a dump truck, dude. It was so big.
Yeah, this female, like, it's so wild because I look at her because she was imported. I think Derek got her in like 2019, and I look at the 2019s that I have that aren't Bioks, and I swear to God that Biok female is like 4 times the size of those.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's if I showed you, you would think that they were hatchlings. Like it's stupid.
Yeah.
How small they
That's
are compared to
crazy.
her, and it's like because I was like, when the time comes to pair, like, should I use that Biok male? Should I use that smaller Manok type male? And I'm like, that little guy he wouldn't know what to do. If she laid on him, he'd die.
You'd
He'd
be
get
surprised, man. I got a little
the only
3.5
one who
foot
can handle
carpet
it is
that
that
goes in
Biok
with my
male.
6.5 foot female.
Problem
And
child's the
he
only one.
got the job done. Oh man.
Yeah, I'd post a picture of it. People are like, oh, that's cool. The mom with her baby. And it's
Yeah.
I don't think his little peen could even like get to its final
You'd
destination.
be surprised, man. Those little males are fertile. They want it.
It's a
They want
physical. It's a physical length thing, like being able to.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, I've
know.
seen some really little carpets in with some
pretty-
big females.
Pretty big lock for that key.
I've seen some small ball pythons in with some big big females. And you know,
Yeah.
at one point, there were times where I was like, oh my god, I didn't know ball pythons would cannibalize because you just smother them, and they would get the job done.
That's right,
You know?
man. Those little males, man.
They
Don't
can, they'll
count them
do it.
out. Don't count them
They'll do
out. They want to get laid just as bad as anybody else. Come on now. Come on now.
If anything, they have to work twice as hard because they got to climb the mountain.
Yeah, they're okay with that. Come on.
Yeah, they don't care,
Come
man.
on. It's always the smallest guys that want the biggest girls, man.
Little man.
It's how I guess. Yeah, it's little man syndrome. Makes them feel good about themselves. Come on now.
He is small, but what he's got to prove is big.
That's right. Yep. But this episode, as we have hinted, and if you are watching, you have noticed, today we are joined by the infamous and wonderful Jeremy Hicks, of whose Instagram I cannot remember at this moment because you changed it. Nomad, that's it.
Yeah.
You changed it not too long ago. But I basically
you need a logo.
I do.
Oh, hey.
Hit your boy up. But I basically Jeremy's been Jeremy, you've been listening for a while, haven't you?
Yeah, man. It's been at least 2 years.
Okay. So Jeremy's been a long time listener, and we connected not earlier this year because he hit me up about some rat snakes he wanted to send my way, and again, very, very grateful for that. Since then, we've definitely talked a lot, and Jeremy's become a pretty good friend, and we met him out at Daytona, had an awesome time, and we're excited to have him on the show. So, Jeremy, thank you for coming on and joining us.
Yeah, man, I'm glad to be here. It's kind of
How was your
humbling.
Daytona?
What?
How was your Daytona?
Oh, it was awesome. It was awesome. Getting to meet everybody, you know, and just talk snakes was really cool. Got some cool pickups.
What'd you get?
Notably from
What'd you get? I don't think I saw what you had picked up. I saw you at the show.
Yeah. So I went there looking for carpets. And I knew Billy was going to be there, and I talked with him prior. And turned out he had a 4-year-old Nova Guinea female. So I got her, got a male caramel 50% Peterson stripe coastal.
Nice.
Which is really cool. Yeah, I'm excited to have the Peterson stripe stuff. And then was able to get a pair of Palos Verde Cow Kings and a trio of Brawley Cow Kings from Craig Trumbauer.
Nice.
Don't mention Cow Kings in front of Smitty. He's gonna have flashbacks.
They're not. Awesome. I've noticed that those the Cow Kings, they're not like Getula.
Like they don't smoke meth every day.
Yeah, no, they don't.
Just like a couple times a week.
They don't lunge out at your face when you open the tray and swallow your thumb.
Yeah,
twice. I got you. Yeah, they don't do that.
I'm not afraid of them. I just have severe trust issues with them.
You're afraid of them. You should have seen him with that little Cow King Kellers on him. Jesus. Oh my god!
It was just that one was just angry.
I've never seen such a large man. I've never seen such a large man so afraid of something so tiny. Like
it's just
I love king snakes, man.
Oh man.
The demon that lived inside that animal was the same size as me. You just couldn't see it.
It was alive.
No, there are some bad ones. There are some bad ones, man.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's why I stick to Leonis and Alterna, because they're not like that. Like they're much more reasonable.
Yeah. No, I've had my fingers eaten several times by king snakes. So.
Oh yeah.
I have one Leonis that I think would do that if I picked it up, but it's also a little pig that just wants to eat everything. It's at that age right now where everything is food.
Yeah.
For sure.
It eats like a champ. So.
That's good.
Well, Jeremy, let's let's go back to the beginning, brother. You know, how'd you tell us as little or as much as you want? You know, how'd you fall in love with this crazy hobby that we got, and you know, how did it take you to where you are now?
I mean, I feel like it's pretty typical, right? As a
Nothing wrong with
kid,
that.
was always, huh?
You said nothing wrong with that, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was always fascinated with dinosaurs and biology, and would I had like this encyclopedia that my parents bought me when I was young, and I used to like draw the tuataras and things like that. Of course, I couldn't really draw, so I would trace it. But and then I was probably 6 years old, and my stepdad caught this little rough green snake and handed it to me, and that's kind of where I got fascinated with snakes in particular. Um, as I got older, I think so. My first pet snake was a wild caught garter snake, and no idea what I was doing. I mean, I was only 9, I think, and so we kept it in this little 20-gallon aquarium, and tried to feed it pinky mice, and of course, it didn't eat pinky mice, and just kind of learned from there, and started catching toads for it and stuff like that, and eventually we let it go, but yeah, just as I got older, started doing a lot of research and learned a lot, about different species, and became fascinated with pythons and boas. Saw an emerald tree boa in a book, one time, and just had me hooked. So started, I'd buy snakes from the local reptile store or whatever, and hide them under my bed in tubs so I wouldn't get in trouble. And eventually got into leopard geckos and was breeding leopard geckos, and then boas, and I produced some boas on my own, and I worked at Gourmet Rodent for a little while.
Oh, really?
Back in like 2015. That was my first introduction to like commercialized the reptile industry.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, I went to work for Eugene Bissett. And I've just been keeping pretty much ever since I was about 10 years old. I've always had a snake. So
it's so funny how everyone is so closeted about it when they're young. Like, I don't know how many times I snuck stuff up to my room that I had bought. Like, my dad or my mom would come and be like, "Oh, when'd you get that?" And I'd be like, "Oh, I got that like 3 months ago, a couple weeks ago." It's like, that came in yesterday, but
yeah,
I don't know that. It just, especially when I was deep into scorpions and tarantulas and stuff, I had some things up there that if they'd have gotten loose, that would have been a big problem.
Yeah.
It's just so funny how everyone. It's funny, and it's bizarre to me too that everyone's story is so similar in terms of how they get into all this.
Yeah.
See, I'm similar in the whole like dinosaur obsession with animals, but I never did that, man. Like, I didn't like stop telling my parents that I got new snakes until like I moved out. I think I didn't do that till like college. I wasn't supposed to be getting snakes when I was in college, but I lived away, and I got snakes.
I had a dad
never
who would
hid
like
stuff.
snakes, and he would say, "Don't tell your mom." Like,
My dad.
I was very fortunate. I had very supportive parents, and
that's great.
So I mean, I probably didn't need to hide them, but
I did.
I did, and then when they found out, it was kind of like, well, I just don't want to smell it.
It's already here.
Yeah, I just don't want to smell it. So
I think I had a copperhead in my room for one entire winter, and I don't think they ever realized it.
Oh, jeez.
It was in a log. It was in a neodacia, so it had a padlock on it. So I'm sure if they had come in the room, they would have noticed that. I mean, they know what copperheads look like, but they never said a word about it. So I was like, all right. Well.
Yeah. I feared the wrath of my father way too much to do that, because my dad like hated snakes. Even when I eventually pestered them enough to let me have a snake, my dad hated snakes. And I was way too afraid to try and get away with that when I was younger. So that definitely didn't
Well, yeah, my
didn't
dad didn't
fly.
care. Yeah, my dad didn't care. He was just like, whatever. I mean, they're cool, Um, but so my stepdad, I mean, it's kind of his fault, right? I mean, he's the one that got me fascinated with
Right.
snakes and reptiles. So he was always supportive of it, and uh, my mom eventually learned to. Um, she went from indifferent to actually caring, which was cool. But yeah,
Yeah.
I used to go to my dad's like every weekend, and at one point I moved all of my snakes over to his house, um, because I had like 6 or 7 at the time, and all in glass tanks, and it was too much at my mom's house, and
Right.
um, yeah, he didn't care. He was like, yeah, sure, put them in your room. So
There you go, man.
Yep, it eventually just for me evolved into a sort of a don't ask, don't tell kind of thing.
mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm at that point now. My parents don't really ask
Yeah,
like how many I have, and I don't tell them, like
my dad will ask periodically, and I'll tell him, and he just kind
Yeah.
of laughs at me.
That's kind of the deal I have with my wife. She
yeah, that's the
stays she
best.
stays out of the garage, and she doesn't ask any questions. So.
Yeah.
I think mine's
Yeah.
just given up on even like giving me a hard time about it at this point. She's like, "Oh, okay, another one, great." I'm like, whatever. Especially corns. She's like, "Why do you need another corn? You already have this one." And I'm like, "No, I don't.
You already have 100.
I'll get another castagna or
Yeah,
something."
but it
You
doesn't look
already
like
have
this
5 of
one.
these. Exactly. I'm like, but this is a different line. This is mahogany stuff. This isn't the same. This isn't German
Yeah.
line. This is just
You
US.
see this little blotch
Yeah.
on
See
its
how it's
head?
slightly less
That's
pink?
why.
Right.
Yeah, no. At this point, like with me and my girlfriend, I think she's just accepted it, and
Yeah.
I think as long as it doesn't impact
I always
people.
tell her, I'm like, oh, by the way, there's a new snake coming in the room for quarantine. She's like, okay, that's great.
Great. Yeah.
So I moved quarantine to the
It's
kitchen.
better all around. It's better for
Yeah.
everybody that way, man.
Yeah, so I just moved quarantine to the kitchen. Now there's no problems. So
Oh, there you go.
there you go. No issues. But so talk about where you're at now, man. Where you're at with your personal collection. I think you work with like a company or something on the side as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell
Yeah.
us a little
So
bit about personal and what you do for work with them.
yeah. So my personal collection is primarily carpets. Uh, Mostly poplins.
That's
I've
right.
got a pair of
That's right.
novas. Some coastals. And then the kind of the outliers, right? I've got the emerald tree boa. I've got a pair of Amazon tree boas. Pretty excited about.
Where did those
And then
come
the
from?
king snakes. So the male was produced by Poe's Boas, and it's a nice little bicolor. Yeah, yeah. And then the female she's a long-term captive from a friend of mine. She was wild caught, and was brought in like 5 years ago. And she's big. I mean, she's every bit of 6.5 feet. Honestly, she's a big Amazon. So,
That's a really big
she's like a really weird yellow with it's almost like a granite pattern. Very interesting. So I'm excited to see. Yeah.
I miss them. When I have more space, I want to get back into them, man.
I love them. I love them.
I do have a hard time turning my nose up to the yellow Amazons, man. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I know way more people are into like the reds and the dark stuff, but man, just the banana yellow Amazons.
Yeah, I really like the yellows, man. Like I don't see why more people don't have them.
You hardly ever see them now, which I find weird. I never see yellows.
Yeah. So I'm excited. Hopefully, we can have a litter here. I don't know if it'll be this year. Maybe next. So we'll give it a shot. But
you plan on bringing any carpets this year?
Yes, actually. So I have a wild caught poplin. She's a big girl. She's a big girl.
Nice.
Nice high orange, nice cream base color.
That's what I'm
talking
about.
We'll see.
What's she going to, or what are you going to put to her?
It's kind of iffy.
Chondro.
No,
If it's a jungle cross, I'm gonna come to Florida
No.
right now and
I would
slap you.
let you kick me in the nuts if that was the case. No. Actually, it's going to go to a Nova Guinea. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So
I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna.
He's not going to sign off on it, but he's intrigued.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna sign off on it. I might just flick you in the nuts a little bit instead of kick
I
you.
trust
But
me. I know what
Is
you
it?
mean. I'm not.
Would it really
I'm not
be
big
across
into the.
though?
Huh?
So would it really be across though? Because it is still.
there's a
So-
lot. There's a lot of like talk about how the Nova Guineas actually came about.
Oh,
And
is it?
where they came about from, I don't really
Like,
know
in
the
what
solid
regard?
origin.
All right. So I don't know how much I'm allowed to say, so I'm gonna kind of keep it.
So you'll
vague.
message me after the show and give me the
Maybe, yeah.
yeah.
So I mean, based on the history, and the data that we have right now, Nova Guineas and Papuans are from Papua New Guinea.
Yes.
So now that being said, I mean, I don't, I'm not saying everybody go breed your Nova to your Papuan, right? Just because it's variegata. They're obviously two distinct lines. I mean, Novas came in. It was Nick and Eric Kohler that had, what was it, 4.2 that originally came in. So, and that's where all of our Novas in the U.S. came from. So there's not a lot of diversity there.
Yeah, there's got to be some outcrossing done with that,
Yeah, and that's true. But yeah, so it's. I mean, technically, no, it's not. It's not a hybrid. It's not a mutt. But at the same time,
but it's not pure.
Mutt-ish.
It's not pure.
It's mutt-esque.
Yeah. So, but like I said, according to what we know right now, Papuans and Novas are from the same island. So, we'll see. I mean, it's one of those where, if anything comes of it, I'm going to hold everything back. I know I've talked with Riley Jemison about this quite a bit. I know he wants some of those animals because he's going to attempt a cross like that as well. And then, probably just a close friend of mine wants an animal just because it's another carpet. So,
yeah. And that's my biggest thing is I definitely don't knock you for it. Not saying I would do it, but I'm not against it because, like you said, the gene pool with the whole Nova thing is small, and I think we're gonna eventually start to see effects with that. So if you're gonna cross it, I mean, you got to put it into a Papuan.
Has anyone done that yet?
Yeah, and I'm still probably going to be crucified by the.
I'm sure you will. I'm sure you
But,
will. Watch out for Nick Mutton.
What was the
Yeah, but so I mean, we'll see. We'll see what comes of it.
That would be interesting.
The reason, it's possibly a genetic mutation that's naturally occurring. So,
and see, that'll be the
kind of the point.
I'm with you now. To see if is this a co-dominant or recessive thing? Like, okay, I see where your head's at. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't mind
I mean,
I don't mind.
There were crosses done. Yeah, there were crosses done with Novas in the past. To like Jags.
Yeah.
And I mean it's a very noticeable difference from Jag and or from any other Jag to a Nova Jag. I mean, it made an incredibly bright yellow, extremely reduced pattern animal. So, maybe it's just a really dominant phenotype, and that's why. Or there could be, something Mendelian about it. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
it'll be interesting because it could be just a dominant thing, and you
Mhm.
put it to normal, and they might all come out looking exactly like normal novas.
Yep.
So because that's how dominant genes work,
Yep.
or you might get half and half, you might
Well, it'd
get
be
none,
interesting if you could introduce more color into that pattern that the Novas have. Like if you could get sort of those oranges and things
Yeah.
that you have from sort of your
Yeah.
typical
Yeah.
pop one.
Yeah.
It'd be
And like, I don't really like doing. I don't really like all all the integrades and the mutts in the carpet world. I mean, because what we have is what we have, and it's
right.
kind of our responsibility to continue on the
Right.
lineage of these animals, these pure subspecies and whatnot. But at the same time, they're also just snakes in boxes, and
Absolutely.
inevitably, I think it would make a good looking snake.
Mhm.
But yeah. So part of me is hesitant about it. The other part of me is the mad scientist part. Is kind of just like,
Yeah.
oh, let's see what it does.
Yeah, but that's the thing is like there's always both sides to that, and as much as like we joke and stuff, obviously I don't actually give a shit. It's one of those things that like I'm a purist when it comes to pretty much everything, but that's me. I don't care if somebody's doing jungle diamond jags, like it doesn't bother me at all. It makes a
Yeah.
beautiful snake. If that's what you want to do, then do it. And that type of shit doesn't bother me whatsoever. Some people have made like some of the like granite stuff crossed with the coastal xanthics and then throw albino
Yeah.
into it.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes crazy animals, and to each their own. But I think what you're doing is I almost want to say a necessary thing, like to
Maybe.
outcross them, and really see what's going on, like
Yeah.
I'm with it, man. I'm excited to
Yeah.
see what
So,
comes from that for you.
yeah, we'll see. As of right now, it's just a pair of animals.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be
Yeah.
till next year to where I could give it a shot with two pair. Like if this year doesn't work, but
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see. And
Yeah.
if nothing comes of it, then cool.
Yeah. Whatever. That's the thing. You can't put all your chickens in one basket,
Yeah.
or all your
Yeah.
eggs in one basket. You gotta, that's the thing with breeding is I had such high hopes to breed, albino Florida pines this year, but it didn't
Mm-hmm.
happen. None of my pits went this year, and that was
Yeah.
fine. It's perfectly fine. You got to be okay with striking out. And that's the thing with breeding
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Absolutely.
you're not gonna get every single pairing every single year. It's just
Yep.
it's just the name of the game, and I feel like people get discouraged after the first time they try something like, oh, fuck this, doesn't work. Like, no, try it again next year,
Yeah.
Like, especially if it's your first go, a lot of animals need that first introduction to be like, oh, I don't know about this. Then the next year they do it, through and through.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
And there's a lot of factors too, right? If you move or
yeah.
maybe there was some drastic change in your room or whatever, it throws them off. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. I'm eager to see what comes of it. I won't lie, but yeah. So,
That's
um,
exciting, man.
yeah, but kind of gone off on a tangent there, but
That's all right. That's all right.
yeah, no, yeah. So, the work stuff I do on the side. So I'm in construction, as a
Okay.
full-time job. But twice a month, we try to do it more if we can, but twice a month, me and another friend of mine in this area, we go to Panama City, which is about 2 hours away. And we help out with a friend of ours who has his own facility. His name's James Bergman. He runs Bergman Reptile Room. So I got hooked up with him last year, almost a year and a half ago, I think it was. through my wife's dog rescue. So I don't remember how it all was, but like the owner of the rescue knows them, and she found out I work with snakes, and so that's kind of how we got linked up. But he keeps high end ball pythons, high end western hogs, some pretty top notch Brazilian rainbow boas as well.
Nice.
And so I came in, we talked for a while before we ever met, and then we finally met. I checked out the facility, and he was like, I'd love to have your help. I could use you for ultrasounding. The BRBs. So that's kind of how it all happened. And so I'll go like ultrasound for them. The Brazilians, the balls, we'll ultrasound, we'll do cleaning, check weights, we'll feed, all that kind of stuff. So nothing too crazy. I mean, it's not a huge facility by any means, but since I had experience through Gourmet and Eugene, doing ultrasounds and working with Brazilian rainbow boas and stuff like that, that's kind of helped a little bit, I think, on his end. Plus, he's a busy guy. He's got a family. He's got kids. So he's really passionate about the animals. But when you have a full-time job, a wife, 2 kids, things like that, it can be tough to take care of a large collection. So, we kind of just linked up and, through the hobby, and I've been working over there for almost a year now, I think.
Nice.
So yeah, it's really cool, man. That's who we went to Daytona with. Actually, he got us set up with the hotel, and we all rode together, and so it was cool.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, that's really cool. It was funny at Daytona. You weren't with the group when I noticed the shirts that y'all were wearing. And it was like the day, I don't remember what day it was, because I think I met you Friday night was when we actually like met. And it was Saturday morning or Saturday sometime. I saw somebody wearing one of your shirts. And I saw all the faces on the back, which is a cool shirt. Like the whole Brady Bunch thing is kind of cool, how y'all did it. And I saw the faces, and I looked at one of them, and I was like, dude, that looks like Jeremy. That looks so much like Jeremy. Like, it's weird. Like, and I couldn't get it out of my head. And I was like, that's so funny how that looks so much like Jeremy. And then that night I saw you wearing one of the shirts, and I was like, that is Jeremy. Like, oh shit.
Yeah, man. He does cool shit for us, like like that for us. And it's really cool, man.
Awesome.
I love James. He's an awesome dude. I love his family. They really take care of us. It's me and like 2 other guys, right? That do most of the help. And dude, like every time we go over there, he's cooking us dinner, and or smoking us some, like he'll smoke like a half pound of bacon and a brisket.
There you go. You
know
go.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever. And so it's cool, man. We hang out. It's not just all work. So it's fun, man. It's fun.
So when you go there, since it's a bit of a drive, do you usually like crash over there overnight, or is it like a there and back type of thing?
No,
Head there in the morning, come back that night.
Yeah, so it's changed, because we all work full time. So originally we would do like Sundays during the day. That way we could get back home at a reasonable time, spend time with our families, and then we switched it to Saturday nights. And that was rough, man. Like we wouldn't get home till me and my buddy Corey wouldn't get home till like 3 a.m.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
that's a long day.
Yeah. So that was pretty rough. But now we're trying to do more like Friday evenings, late afternoon, because I usually get off early on Friday.
There you go.
Or Saturday. So he works with us. Like it's kind of like whatever works for us, he tries to fit it in his schedule, because he's got stuff to do too.
Yeah, and I'm sure things change based on breeding season, off season, all that,
Yeah, I mean,
all that stuff.
yeah, we're getting to the point now where we're starting to cool down some of the Brazilians, and I really would like to be over there at least 3 times a month,
Yeah,
just to oversee, kind of double check, make sure everybody's still looking good, um, like this past year or this past breeding season, what I can't remember. I don't know if he got. I think it was 2 litters of Brazilians. We had
nice.
some T positive albino stuff, a bunch of hets, which is cool. Really, really pretty stuff, man. A lot of the hets too were just like high red, really just good looking snakes. So it's cool.
Very good, man. Yeah, it's awesome, man. You get that kind of a family environment, along with something that you just love to do, man. You can't beat it. It's a good place to be, dude. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure, man. And like I say, I mean, we'll work a couple hours, but it's never like work. We're shooting shit the whole time, and so
yeah,
it's cool.
It's one of those things that, like, I don't know, it's cliche, but when you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. This isn't. It's work, and don't get me wrong. Like, keeping as many snakes as a lot of us do, like, it's work, but it's also not. Like, you love it, you love doing it.
It's a labor of love.
Yeah, for sure, It's definitely gotten up there for me. It feels like another almost full time job dealing with all this stuff.
I imagine, man. You got a lot of animals. I was talking with Justin too, man. He's got a lot of animals. So
yeah,
I'm drowning.
He's got more than I do right now. So
yeah,
with the babies, I always like told myself, I was like, okay, I always want to keep it under 100. That was always my thing. Like, keep it under 100 will be good. Did not compensate for baby season. And Lord help me. That's definitely threw me way over the 100
those
mark.
Damn double clutches, man.
Yeah, the double clutches did me in this year for sure.
Yeah.
But
I wouldn't mind. I think you and I have talked, Jake, about this before. Like, if I could stay around, 40 adults, holdbacks kind of a thing, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah,
I think that's a pretty manageable size.
Yeah, for sure. I couldn't, dude, and that's the thing. Like, where I'm at now, like, if I had, which it sounds like a lot, because you tell somebody you have 40, like somebody on the streets, they're like, oh yeah, I have 46. They're like, you have 40 snakes? Like, what? But it's like, at this point, if I had 40 snakes, dude, this would be a cakewalk. Like, if I only had 40 snakes to manage, that would be nothing.
Yeah.
But as it sits, shit, I think I have 40 rat snakes just in localities at this point. Like,
you're about to get more too. So
yeah, that's another thing. Jeremy's sending me yet another new locality. You've been the new locale dealer for me as of late. But I'm okay with it, man. I'm excited. I'm really excited about those, man. You sent me those pictures, and I was like, ooh, buddy.
Cool, man. They're all spunky little things, And once again, they've all eaten, so which is awesome.
Yeah, no, I am not mad about it. So I'm gonna take me and my buddy Preston and I. We do a lot of kind of work together, I guess. Like, we keep a lot of the same locales, and I send stuff his way, he sends stuff my way, and so that's why I was like, because I realized when you asked me about other people, like, hey, let me know if anybody wants more. I didn't think about it for a couple days, and I was like, oh my God, Preston. And so I called him like immediately. I was like, yo, dude, do you want in on these? He's like, oh, I can't really. I was like, dude, don't worry about cash. Like, we're just, I'm sending these. I'm gonna, if you want in on this, I'm taking them all. Like, I'm gonna send some your way if you want them. He's like, yo, dude, like, count me in. So and
I had spoke with Chris again, Montrose, yesterday or the day before, and he just doesn't have room. So
oh man,
I'm sending all 6 up there.
Yeah, send them all my way. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I just hope it's not a sausage fest. That's all I can. That's
No,
all
I
can
know
hope
that.
for.
I know that there's one female at least. I sexed one and it was female. So
Okay.
yeah.
Well,
So
at least there's that. There's one.
you know, at worst it's 5.1.
Yeah, at worst. Yeah, no, that'll be all right. Because, like, I talked to Preston. He was like, dude, get as many as you can get. And he was like, I don't care the ratios. He's like, we'll go find more if we need to, because we know exactly the county they came from. We know the address they came from. So that's even better.
Yep.
So he's like, worst case, we'll go find more. And I was like, okay, well, if I don't need a ton, so you're gonna get a bulk of these.
Nice.
So
it'll
work
man,
out.
I'm glad. I'm all about having a bunch of localities. Out in the hobby, right? I mean, like for instance, okay, these those king snakes I got, the Brawleys and the Palos Verdes.
Those
You
brawlies
can't
are
you can't get
nice,
those.
dude.
You can't get them anymore. You can't
No,
go collect them anymore. So from what I understand from Craig, the Brawleys, there's no habitat anymore. It was paved over. There's a mall or a parking lot or whatever. So you can't get them. And then the Palos Verdes, it's either been commercialized or it's private land, and they quit letting people go collect. So what we have is what we have, and they're very distinct phenotypes. So I think that's important. That localities remain in the hobby.
Yeah, because that's the thing, man. Is like you never know when that's why, like, that's partially the reason right now I'm really trying to get whatever I can, no matter what it is, because like you never know when something's gonna shut down. Like, it happened in South Carolina. Like South Carolinians can collect, like we can still collect stuff, but don't come from out of state. These things can't cross state lines anymore. At least field collected stuff, and then even then, like specific locales can only be of a certain length. They have to be under a certain length to leave the state.
Wow.
So it's like you never know when these things are gonna shut down, man. It's like a lot of my stuff's from Florida, so it's like you never know when Florida's gonna do the same thing. So I'm really trying to get whatever I can now.
When it comes to Florida, I mean, they're just developing everything.
Yeah, that too. You never know when something's just going to be gone because of development.
It's just going to be a total loss of habitat.
Yeah. But don't you dare own an iguana.
Don't you dare.
Yeah.
Not even one.
Or more than one pine snake.
Yeah, right. And y'all can't even have wild types anymore, can you?
I heard something recently where you still can.
You can. Okay.
I don't know. I don't know. Because I try to keep up with it every year. And the last time I looked, it was updated at I think it was January 2023, where they changed some of the wordage and essentially excluded the sentence of one wild type.
Right.
So it still says you can keep albinos.
Yeah.
But it doesn't reference wild types anymore.
I've heard, like, I know the way it was, because I know this was a recent change. I know the way it was if you're a Floridian living in Florida, you can have one wild type, as many morphs as you want, but you can't buy any of them. They have to be gifted to you.
Right.
You can own them, but you can't buy them. But it was one wild type, and then the rest had to be morphs. And then as far as I knew, I thought it changed where you couldn't have a wild type at all. But if they just don't talk about
I don't,
it, then maybe
I don't think you can. I don't think you can anymore. Like I said, they changed the wordage on that statute, and so if it's not included, in the government's eyes, it's illegal. So
right.
But as far as the all the morphs and stuff, I mean, I knew people that were breeding leucistics, and there was no issue with that. It's not albino, but since it's a morph,
Yeah, and that was my understanding. Is you could have all the morphs you want, but you can't buy them. You cannot
Yeah.
buy them.
Yeah.
So,
Which is a shame. They're really cool.
yeah,
Really
I did. I've got albino Floridas and some of my favorite snakes in the collection, man. They're fantastic animals. It's a shame you can't.
Never had rhino rats.
I have barons, and it's good enough for me. In fact, it's better. So.
I'm not going to get into that fight.
Oh, come on.
Oh man, no, that's again that goes into whole. They're just two very different snakes.
Yeah.
There's really the only thing similar is the horn. So
Yeah.
they're just completely different.
Not even close. Can't
Can't
even
even
compare those.
Yeah, can't compare them because barons are
Well,
just that
a
much better.
sad excuse for a horn, if you ask me, on the Bears.
Yeah.
Really.
Hey,
more of a
you
nub.
shut up. You shut up.
It's more of a flipper than anything else, because that's kind of what it looks like. It's like a little paddle on their face.
No.
The emerald, though, I mean, how's that been? Dealing with them in the past. I notice mostly with the northerns in particular, since those are imported in pretty big numbers, that it never seems to be young animals that are imported. It almost always seems to be adults.
Yeah. It's usually adults. I mean, I imagine it's because the collectors, they're looking in a specific location, and that's where they're finding them, right? I mean, just like chondros, the emeralds, they'll hang down, around a game trail or something like that, and wait for, mammalian prey. So I'm sure they collect them at night. But as far as keeping, I mean, this in particular animal has been a cakewalk. So as far as the information that was given to me when I got the animal was she was captive born. So already that's it's a step in the right direction. But she's been, they're bulletproof, man. If you have your parameter set, you can't mess them up. I've had, so when I worked at Gourmet, we had Gourmet was an importer at the time, and we got a lot of stuff in from South America.
Right.
Primarily like Suriname. They were building their Amazon, Emerald Tree, and True Redtail colonies up for captive production and sales. So at the time, I was manager of the boas, which was at the time the largest colony of Brazilians. So we were getting in fairly large shipments, I would say. I mean, a dozen animals at a time. Not all were for holdbacks, but I'd pick through the best looking animals, so on and so forth. I think at one point we had maybe a dozen holdback emeralds, and I would say the success rate for the time I was there was probably 75% as far as holding down food, drinking, behaving like a healthy animal.
Yeah.
From what I recall, a lot of what you had the stereotypical regurg syndrome, which I really think, from what I know now, I really think is most likely avian chlamydia over something like crypto, based on how they hold these animals at the importer. That and dehydration, right? I mean, once dehydration sets in with animals that are more susceptible to it, I mean, it shocks it destroys their kidneys.
It's a fast track to problems.
Yeah, I mean, it destroys their kidneys, and there's no getting it back. And then you have a systemic problem after that where just everything starts to shut down. So But yeah, I mean, if you get one that's established, if you can get one established, as long as you have those parameters set, they're really not difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't mess with them.
I think there's a lot of parallels to chondros with that too. It's it's the
Yeah.
same thing of like, well, if you're starting with older imported animals, you're really making it an uphill battle for yourself unless you're well versed in that and dealing with the the issues that come along with it. And I guess it's not the same in chondros in that it's easy to get imported babies, but
Right.
I pretty much never see imported emeralds that aren't adults. Like I've seen some maybe smaller adults, but even then, it just you don't see small baby emeralds imported like you do with green trees, and I don't know. It's tough. Eventually, I don't know. I like to get some emeralds one day. I feel like if you have chondros, almost have to have the other chondro. But I don't know. I mean, I've had friends that got some and they've done great. I've got friends that have gotten some and it's been nothing but a disaster. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. It's just you're either going to have a great experience, or you're going to have a horrible experience, and not too far off with chondros as well in that regard. It's kind of a roll of the dice. Just depends on what you're starting out with.
Yeah, and I mean, it's. I feel like they sit around like the import wild caught emeralds, right? They sit around that $350 price range, and that's very tempting for somebody who wants a pretty green snake on a stick. And so I think the mentality is a lot of times, oh well, it's cheap, I can afford the vet care. Well, I mean, maybe, but even then, the vet may not be able to fix that.
Or I mean, the chances are the vet isn't going to know right then and there what to do as far as treatment and stuff goes, because you're not going to see something like that on a regular basis.
Yeah,
I also think a big thing that comes with that a lot of people don't think about is you get an imported animal and think, oh, I'll just take it to the vet. The biggest factor, in my opinion, in imported animals and survival is stress management. I think you guys would probably agree with that. Taking it to a vet, I don't really give a shit what they all pump into this thing to make it healthy. The stress of that process could kill it by itself. Whether you go to the vet or not, whether you do some home internal treatments, whatever, those vet visits, once a month alone could kill it. It does, all the movement, all the, going back and forth, that alone could be the thing that kills it. Vets aren't granted. Yes, if you have an animal that's sick, take it to the vet. That's your best option. But don't go into an imported emerald or a chondro thinking, oh, I'll just take it to the vet and it's going to be fine. No, because that's that much more movement. That's that much more taking its tub, putting it in your car, driving it however far to your vet, them getting shots, injections, whatever the hell else. It doesn't mean it's going to fix it. There's you got to know your stuff to be able to do a lot of stuff at home to minimize that stress.
Well, I think. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, I think the biggest thing too is hydration with an animal like that, and I'm sure it is with chondros too. I mean, you're talking about a species that, for one, doesn't handle stress very well, right?
Yeah.
But two is from the rainforests of South America. It's, I mean, the temperatures aren't really the big factor. It's the hydration. They have ample access to water all the time.
Yep.
And so, like if you get this animal and you go take it straight to the vet or whatever, it doesn't matter. I mean, if you don't hydrate that animal, make sure it's hydrated for a while. If there's no damage done to the kidneys at that point, then sure, great. But if you just take an animal straight to the vet and you stress it out and then it doesn't want to drink or anything like that, I mean, you're just risking, like I said, that dehydration and those issues, right?
Absolutely.
I think that's just the biggest thing.
Yeah. Well, it's tough because if it were me going into it, I wouldn't. My first order of business, say I went and got a Northern or something, tomorrow. My first instinct wouldn't be get it into the vet as soon as possible. It would be let me get it, let me sit on it for a month or two, make sure. I mean, if there's a direct medical emergency or something that needs to be taken care of like immediately, that's one thing. But if it's otherwise healthy, not having any issues, like I'm gonna give it probably a month or two before I
if
make
not
a
6,
thing.
Yeah,
because it's just there's giving them some of that time to sort of get back to zero, kind of settle a little bit, establish themselves, and then take them. It's either that or do you just go ahead and get it out of the way and get it all sort of sorted and handled and then ignore it. It's tough because I guess it depends on the species too, in particular.
Yeah.
Like,
I think so for sure. I mean, like I said, emeralds, they just don't seem to handle stress very well, right? As a species. So the best thing to do is not take it home and pump it full of panicure. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing is like again, going into the whole stress management, aspect of it is if you're going to go down this route, which is not for everybody, let's preface that. What we are saying now is not to encourage you to do that if you're a new keeper. This is for somebody who really knows kind of what they're doing, what's going on, but if you're going to go that route, get it home, get it set up, give it a bunch of water, and leave it alone for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. Don't touch it. Make sure it's clean. Let it poop and let it sit there for a little bit. Don't minimize your contact. Make sure water's always clean. Give it a good spray down. Let it sit. Obviously, and again, what I was gonna say is like it all depends on like. Obviously, if you have an animal and you buy it with a respiratory infection, it's not a good thing. Right. You don't need to let that sit. But like Justin was saying, if otherwise externally this thing seems healthy, really all you have to worry about is internal parasite treatment. A lot of times, I almost hate to say it because I don't want to encourage this, but a lot of times those things kind of sort themselves out. There's been a lot of thought processes of like I've heard some people say, I don't even treat wild caught animals anymore. They've been living with them for how long? They're going to continue living with them and they're probably going to be fine. So if it's okay externally, everything seems fine. I would say keep it quarantined, keep it hydrated, and leave it alone for 6 months. And after 6 months, it's shedding, it's growing, it's pooping, it's doing its thing. If you want a vet appointment at that point, then go do it because it's been established. Absolutely. It's at least semi-established at that point. It's chilling. It's gotten to your rhythm. You don't really have that worry of just it up and dying at any point. Then go do a vet visit, do a fecal test, all that good stuff, and move from there. But
personally, I would do a fecal inside of that 3 months, something,
do one on your own. Because there's a lot of
options. That way, exactly sort of what you're going into when you do have a vet visit.
Absolutely.
Lined up. Because something like benign sort of parasite loads of things that most things live with anyways, nematodes to some degree or something of the sort, like those are one thing, but if it's got something like tapeworm,
I mean, at least it would give you something to look out for, right? I mean, like
exactly.
Roundworm.
I mean, a lot of times now, I mean, you can get a fecal test kit. You can reach in the cage, take your sample, and be done. Send it off to the vet.
That's a very low stress thing that you can do right away. Inside of that time, because you can get REL has a ton of different tests that you can do. Like they're a very good source for a lot of different things. And so get a swab of their poop. That's a very low stressor for them, to do it. You know, we're saying
I
a
wanna learn how to
physical vet visit is the thing that could really do something in if you do it right away.
Right.
You
right.
know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I really
Yeah,
want to. I want to learn how to do fecals myself, but not necessarily like learn how to do them, because that's not the hard part. But like identifying what you're being able to look at, you know, like
Mhm.
that I want to learn how to do, because we're dealing with a bunch of stuff that's all pretty much the same shape.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out what's what, I feel like that's
yeah,
something that could be really valuable
Mhm.
long term. If you're dealing with a lot of wild caught animals, it only makes sense to learn how to do it yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
At least it would give you a jump start too,
yeah, for sure.
But yeah.
Yeah, it all adds up, man. You know, like it's all about, again, it's all down to hydration and stress management, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a lot of
absolutely.
even rat snakes, man. Like people kind of downplay how sensitive rat snakes can be, but like
Mhm.
simple things like enclosure changes can make rat snakes crash. You
I don't
gotta
know, man.
be.
Every wild caught corn I've ever had settled in, no problem. Never
No,
skipped
yeah,
a
no, no,
beat
no.
on
I'm not
eating. Like
saying,
every
yeah,
corn
I'm
I've
not
had was
saying
like,
they're not
okay,
easy to
this is
settle.
cool.
But I've had stuff that like you change the enclosure, all of a sudden it's like, what the fuck is this? And it's like they can crash just as easy as anything else, man.
Yeah.
Granted, yeah, they're not. I'm not comparing them to green trees or emeralds. Those are kind of a whole different ball game as far as stress
Mhm.
management goes. But stress is a factor on
Those are
all
only for the
snakes.
elite.
Yeah, yeah, no, but stress is a big thing for all animals.
Yeah.
You got to keep
Absolutely.
stress levels low because just like a lot of people think that like, oh, as long as I have proper temperatures and this, they're not going to get a respiratory infection. That's the first
Mhm.
thing to happen if an animal is stressed out, like really
Mhm.
stressed out. It's the first thing that's going to pop is a RI. Like it's just
Yep.
it's all about management, man. Gotta
Yep.
gotta be able to keep that down for all your animals, no matter what.
Yeah.
So
Especially, I think too. Especially when with a new animal and you're trying to figure it out, right?
yeah, yeah, for
Even
sure.
if it's a species you've worked with for a long time, that they're all individuals. So
Yeah,
Mhm.
um, while you're trying to figure that animal out, I think it's good to just try to keep it even keel.
yeah.
Well,
That's what.
it's really odd, sort of in a way. Like if you've done it long enough, you can sort of tell, even if the animal's not really doing anything, that it's still not quite dialed in yet.
Yeah, something's
Yep.
wrong.
Like you can tell that it's
Yeah,
just not quite settled. I don't know, like that little baby chondro I got from Olson recently. Like that thing's it's still trying to get it to eat has still been kind of tough, but like I can tell that it's still just not quite settled yet. Like it's just not
yeah,
there. I couldn't tell you exactly why. Um, Same with that big female Biak. Like I can tell she's not quite in the groove yet. Uh,
yeah,
couldn't put my finger on it. Couldn't tell you exactly what makes me think or feel that way, but I feel very confident in that. Like that animal just isn't there yet.
yeah,
It's close. Like it won't take much longer, but it's just not quite
yeah.
quite
And that's
with it
what,
yet.
and that's one of those things where you gotta trust your gut. Like on
Mhm.
the whole like breeding, like in your scenario, Justin. Like getting something new, you want to breed it right away because she's primed and ready, but she's not in the cycle of your room. She's not comfortable yet. If you put a male in there, it's just going to add to stress, and it could. Not
Yeah.
saying it would, but it very well could make her go
I
downhill
mean,
very
it doesn't
fast.
matter if they're settled or not. Like breeding is a stressful event for any
Absolutely,
period.
absolutely. So, and it being on a new environment on top of all that, it's
Mm-hmm.
just, yeah, it's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
Not saying it
Yeah.
can't happen, but that it's a roll of the dice, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
It's just I'm always fascinated at how if you've been around these animals long enough, snakes in particular, how much you can pick up just from body language, and they may not even be doing anything, but you
Yeah.
could just somehow you can just
Mhm.
see it. Like you can. It's
Mhm.
so just wild to me that over time we're able to pick up on things from an animal that doesn't have any expressions and like doesn't have any limbs, or like it just it just does something a little different where you're like, that's not normal.
That's
You know,
not normal.
it's just it's so fascinating to me that we get clued into that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's just it's not even a trick, but it's like, you know, tricks of the trade, man. You know, certain things that you do. It's with anything. You do something long enough, and you pick up on certain things. You know, almost right away.
Well, it's like music, like conductors and orchestras and stuff. You can have 50 people playing at the same time, and they're like, someone's off.
You can hear that one. You
Hear
can't place
someone off
it.
to my right.
You don't
that
know
is
who
out
it
of tune. I
is.
don't know who it is, but someone over here is out of
Somebody's
tune.
out of tune. Yeah. No,
it's that same thing. It's the exact, like, you couldn't teach someone how to do that. That's something you only get by doing it long enough and repetitive enough. You know, that's the exact same sort of parallel there. Is like, you know, I could show someone like, okay, this conjurer's perched up, it's fine, but then without the context of, okay, this conjurer's been perched in that same spot for the last week, and I don't see it moving much, like, that's a stressed conjurer. Like, that's a conjurer that's not dialed in yet. Like, you know, it's just one of those things where, like, you can tell people how it's done until you're blue in the face, but until you sort of see it yourself.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard for people to understand those nuances. You know, that if you're just trying to explain it. So,
student of the serpent. Some of us are in pre-K. Some of us are in our doctorates. You know.
Yeah, like, you know, a good example, and I don't really know what it was, but my black rats recently, they've been acting the same ever since I had them. They're fine, and all of a sudden, kind of out of nowhere, they both started soaking a lot. Like, they would go, especially the I think it was the male. Yeah, the male would specifically just always be in his water dish, and I'm like, it's weird, you know. I don't know why he's doing that, you know, because it all of a sudden just came about. Nobody else is doing it. The female started doing it. So I was kind of like, I don't know what's going on here. So I lowered, just lower the temperatures, pay attention to your room and knowing certain factors. You know, I know they don't have mites. You know, I checked out the water just to be safe. You know, nothing there. And, but they're perfectly healthy, all eating. So I just lowered the temperature just a little bit in my room, and they haven't done it. No. You know, it's just like little things. And it was like, and I mean like
all
a degree
deviations
or
from
two.
Baseline, you know.
Yeah. You know, and it's just little things, man. You got it. And that goes into also paying attention to your animals. You know, this can't turn into a monotonous thing like, okay, I gotta go in here and change all these waters. You know, pay attention to what you do. You know, if you're not working, walk in your room and just look around. You know, observe, see what everybody's doing. You know, and
that's why I'm big on not having a ton of automation in terms of like lights and stuff.
I was just about to say that. Yep.
Like, I think there's a lot to be said for having to go in your room and turn on everything yourself, because that forces you to sort of look around while you're doing things. And I do it every morning. I do it every night. Like, I turn everything off at night and I turn everything on in the morning. It's the first thing I do when I get out of bed. And it's always like lights are on, looking around, seeing how everybody's doing, nothing out of the ordinary, you know.
The only reason I do something, like, I don't have lights on a lot of my stuff, but in the stuff that does have lights, it is on a timer. But that's because when I go to work, it's still dark. And so, like, I set timers for certain times of the year. Like, I just turned back the LED timer on my Deckards, you know, because it's still dark at, 6 a.m. when I'm leaving for work, you know. So I don't want to turn them on, you know. Then I'm a forgetful person. I'm not going to lie. You know, I walk around my room when I get home from work and look around, you know, make sure everything's good. And, but at night, sometimes I'm just chilling, having a drink, watching TV, you know, on my phone. And I'm like, oh, snap, I got to go turn off my things. So I have everything on timers for my mental sanity to make sure everything's going off when I want them to, and make sure I don't forget, you know, again, but it's mostly like for times a year, you know, like during the summer, yeah, the sun's out when I'm leaving for work and I want those lights to be on. But this time of year, they're not coming on until, 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. So that's why I don't do the timers. That's why I do the timers. But
yeah. I've got, there's only two things really automated with my stuff, and that's the heat sources
Yeah.
and one light in the room. Individual cage lights, I like to turn those on and off.
Yeah.
Personally, it just like you said, it gives me a chance to look at each animal.
Yeah.
Kind of see what's going on, and I'm always interested. The reason I keep this stuff is because I like to observe it. So I find myself looking. Okay, well, this carpet's in its hide today. It's been there for 2 days, and I'll take a peek, and oh yeah, okay, it's going blue.
Yeah, it's in shed.
And it's just kind of mental notes, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, when this animal goes and hides, chances are he's going in the shed or whatever. Things like that. I like to check temps all the time.
Oh yeah.
Freaking neurotic with that.
Your heat gun runs out of batteries every 6 months.
Yeah. I'm constantly checking temperatures, but yeah. So I don't like having a lot of automated stuff either.
Yeah, I feel that.
I mean, it's easy, right? It saves time, but then I think you're missing out on some of the fun stuff, right? Some of the important things.
Yeah.
So
I find myself just walking into my room sometimes and just looking around for like 30 seconds and then walking out like randomly. Like,
yeah.
I don't know why, but I'm just like,
I do that all the time.
Yeah.
No reason to go in there, but I'm like,
yeah.
Everyone's
like,
good?
I wonder if this one's perching. Oh, no,
Right.
it's not. Okay.
Oh yeah, no,
Right.
we'll be on the couch like after dinner or something, watching a show, and I'll get up. The episode ended, and it's cueing the next one. I'll get up and like walk into the room, and my wife's always like, "Where'd you go?" I was like, "Oh, I just want to go to the snake room, just look around."
For a minute, yeah.
Just
That's
look
why,
around.
like, whenever we're doing this, you see me always like looking over here. It's just because I'm looking. I'm like, what's everybody doing? Like, it's so cool. Like looking at the tubs I've got now. I'm looking at everybody, and like I just fed, so everybody's kind of relaxing. And both my black rats and one of my gray rats are out on their perches, just hanging out. Yellow rats sitting over there doing the same thing. It's just like, okay, everybody's content. Like we look happy. And it's funny you brought up the whole like shedding thing, because there's certain animals. If I tongue feed everything. I don't do drop feeding. Nothing against drop feeding, Justin. I know you do a lot of that. But I tongue feed everything. And there's certain animals I'll open the tub up and they're not waiting for their food. And I'm like, you're in shed, aren't you? And I'll pick up the little hide to go feed them, and they're like in blue, all backed in the corner. I'm like, yeah, all right, you're in shed. You learn everybody individually. There's some I know they're going to be hiding no matter what, just because they're nervous animals. There's some I'm like, normally you're waiting, but you're hiding this time, so you're probably in shed. And that's funny, man.
with all the boas and stuff that you saw come in, be it arboreal or even just the red tails and stuff. I mean, what was the most common issue that you guys had with imported South American stuff?
Ticks. Yeah. I mean, we had less so on the arboreals, right? I mean,
right.
For common reasons. I mean, don't get me wrong. There, I would find, I could find 5, 10, or so on some Amazons and some emeralds, but it was less common. We had boas like the Surinams come in. I mean, and they'd be covered all over the face and their head. It's just, it was actually more common than I thought it would have been. But yeah, ticks was the big one.
Would y'all physically remove those like with tweezers, or would you do like a frontline solution to?
So yeah, we would do like Nix, actually, like really diluted Nix was kind of the go-to. And then whatever didn't fall off, we would restrain and pick them off from there.
Yeah.
But that was probably the most common thing. That's also when I realized that wild snakes, you don't find fat wild snakes.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, there were some, there were some red tails that came in, they'd be 6-7 foot long, but not very thick.
About that big around.
In a big chunky head too,
Yeah.
But that was the most common thing was ticks. So
I thought it was funny when Zach Loafman, he recently did a bunch of field work with, Western hognose snakes. And he was like, the biggest thing I got from a lot of this, he's like, we have a bunch of fat hognoses in captivity. And I'm like, yep. Like, granted, yeah, I know they're little beasts, man. They want to eat all the time. But like, dude, I keep all my snakes on a strict regimen, man. Like, they don't get massive meals. They get fed, even the babies, 7, 10, sometimes 2 weeks, like I don't push it, I really don't. I'm not eager for anything to get up to breeding size super fast. And, so it varies, especially this time of year. I let them ride it out, man. Like, I don't feed heavy, obviously I don't let them get skinny thin,
Right.
but I don't want overweight animals, man.
That's my biggest
Like,
gripe
I
with the
really,
Facebook
really
groups
don't.
and stuff, man, is we've become so accustomed just from social media and seeing all these different animals that people have, that now like morbidly obese animals are looked at as sort of a standard as far as like, yeah, that's a healthy animal.
No, they're cute. They're chubby. Like, no, it's not cute. Like, it's
And it's been said before, you're killing with kindness at that point.
exactly.
You
Yeah,
know?
it's a really good.
And I've been guilty of that, right? Overfeeding.
Yeah, we all have
in the past, really before I learned, like the digestive system of these animals more in depth. But like, so I find myself these last couple weeks, I've been feeding more frequently, but much smaller than I
much
normally
smaller.
would.
Yeah.
Just preparing everybody because they're going to go off. Everybody's going to go off food here soon. Other than if the colubrids want to keep eating, they're going to keep eating.
Yeah.
They're still young, but so I've been feeding a little bit more frequently, but really small.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, I mean, it's 2 weeks for the babies, or up to a yearling, and then it's spaced out 3 to 4 weeks, if not, for the bigger stuff.
Yeah.
I don't want overweight snakes either, because I plan on having these animals for a long time. That's the goal. So
Right.
It's just it kills me, man, that it's just like now if you post a snake that's 2 years old and the size of a yearling, people freak out. It's like, as far as like body tone and stuff, it can be a completely healthy animal. Like, it's not underweight, it's not overweight, it's just smaller than what we're used to seeing.
It's smaller than the standard.
But
yeah,
at the same time, it's like our goalpost for the standard has been moved so much because of like what we see on a daily basis on Facebook and stuff. That's like anything outside of that now is people like roast you for it. I mean, I saw it in the corn snake groups a lot. People would be like, is my snake overweight? And that thing would look like it was about to explode. And people would be like, no, it's fine. And it's like, are y'all high?
Yeah. Well, did y'all see what what Casey Cannon posted about his male Brettles?
I heard about it. I know. I ended up leaving that group too, just because there's like
dude,
one guy in particular I just could
it,
not stand seeing the crap anymore.
It was sad. It was sad, these people, and I get it. Not everybody knows who Casey Cannon is.
What was the basis of it, though? Because I think I had left that group literally like the day before he had posted that, because he was.
So he had a photo of a male, proven breeder Brettles. I mean, I think he was 10 years old, and he only weighed, oh gosh, I don't, maybe 800 grams or something like that. I mean, it wasn't a very big, snake, right? It wasn't a very big carpet. And, people just like, one in particular, I mean, they just tore into him.
If it's the guy I think it is, he's the reason I left the group in the first place.
Yeah, and it's like, and then, eventually, Nick Mutton chimed in, but, you can't, if somebody thinks they're right, you can't tell them anything different these days.
No, man.
Yeah, I'm past the point of arguing with people on the internet anymore over that kind of stuff.
I mean,
sometimes people will post a comment on a video from our YouTube channel or something, and I'm like, I'm not even going to respond, because it's just, I'm not getting into it. Like, it's a waste of time. You're not going to change your mind. I'm not going to change mine. Like,
Yeah, there have been times where somebody would ask a question. They make a post and ask a question, and if it's something I know, I feel like it's my obligation to help, spread information. So I'll tell them, like uh, somebody asked, uh, what sex is my carpet python? It was sold to me as a male, but the shed, is like 9.5 feet, and just typed a quick response like, hey, you can't tell the gender just on shed size. The sheds are, 30% up to 30% bigger, whatever. Just basic
Yeah.
information. But I usually only leave it at that, or I leave it at that. Like if somebody wants to comment and say something stupid, I'm not gonna, dignify that with a response.
Yeah, that's why a lot of times, like if somebody posts like a question or something, a lot of times I'll just shoot them a message, be like, "Hey, like,
Yeah,
I don't want to
yeah,
comment, but like this is what I know. Take it or
yeah.
leave it. But I really don't like commenting on public
I mean,
platforms, man.
honestly, I'm
It's
past the
not my
point of
thing.
even doing that. If someone messages me and asks directly, sure, but it's like I'm not going out of my way really.
Yeah, I'll
I'm
always do
saying
that. And
that
even
anymore.
then, I haven't messaged many people recently being like, hey, here's your answer, because a lot of times if I see a million answers that are like the same thing, I'm like, all right, like,
Oh yeah, no, I won't even bother.
somebody said it, but if
Yeah,
everybody's dead wrong, I'll be like, hey, just so you know, like, this
yeah,
is,
That's another a Facebook phenomenon that I also just always kind of giggle at because I just don't understand. It's like the ID groups. One person will, like, it'll be a picture of a copperhead, and someone will say, "Oh, that's a copperhead," and
yes,
like, okay, end of discussion. That's it.
and the discussion
Then you
is
have 10
copper.
other people that see that someone already said that's a copperhead, but they
yeah,
have to, like, are compelled to type that's a copperhead. Or there's the people that'll come in, chime in like
Definitely
after
a
10 people
copperhead.
already have and say, no, that's not a copperhead. That's an orange.
yeah.
That's
I
Oh my
swear
God.
those people are just trolling, man. I swear.
yeah.
Guys, like, this can't,
But,
it's just people are watching a different movie than you, man. That's my new sort of motto with life, and especially like politics and stuff, and news and what's going on in the world. I'm just like, people,
Yeah.
someone's
Mhm.
they're watching a different movie. Like, we're looking at the same screen, but we ain't watching the same
Yes.
thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was one. This has been a while ago, and this was like going to be the first time I really like went out of my way and like on a public like comment and being like, "You're wrong. Don't say this ever again." But, like I ended
Mhm.
up because like this it was I was on Instagram or something. It wasn't even somebody I followed. It was like on my For You page, and some girl had a pair of Egyptian false cobras, which are
Mhm.
rear fanged,
Yep.
and she was like, "Yeah, these are really sweet. They are technically rear fang, but these are really nice, and the venom isn't bad. So like, you really don't have to worry about it." Blah
how is
blah
it
blah.
technically rear fanged? It either is or it isn't.
Yeah, right. And she's like, but you don't have to worry about it because it's not bad. Blah blah blah. Dude, I had this whole thing typed out. I'm like, theoretically, you could get somebody killed saying don't worry about it because you don't know how somebody's going to react to any of this venom.
No.
I'm not allergic to bees, but if my girlfriend gets stung by a bee, she's going to the hospital.
Just like Macaulay
Like,
Culkin in that one movie, My Girl.
yeah,
He was
like
allergic.
exactly. Like, you never know how anybody's going to react to anything. So to
Yep.
say you don't have to worry about it, handle your rear fang snakes just fine. Like I will never tell somebody just, hey, you can just reach in and pick up your Barons. Like it's no problem.
Yeah.
Yes, I handle my
They like never
Barons.
bite.
Yeah, I handle my Barons with my bare hands. I'm not going to say I don't, but I'm not going to tell somebody else to do it. If they ask me, I'm going to say they are rear fangs, so use caution when you do it.
Mhm.
If you're
Agree.
going to,
Yep.
but like somebody say like, oh, the venom's not potent, like you don't have to worry about it. Blah, blah, blah. Like I was like, you realize like how much bad you are putting out right now. Do
Yeah.
never say that. I had this whole thing typed out. I was
Show
like,
me at least 3 buy reports that can confirm that.
right. So I had
Not
this
Yeah.
just one,
whole
but
I had
3,
this
multiple.
whole I had
Yeah.
this whole thing typed out for a comment and I just deleted all of it. I was like, this is such a waste of my freaking time. Because it's going to be in one ear, out the other. She's
Let
going to
them
respond with
live in
some
whatever reality
stupid
they're in,
crap.
man.
I was like,
Yeah.
nobody, like this is worthless. I'm just gonna end up getting mad. And I don't do
Yeah.
that. I don't do that anymore. I don't waste my time with people who aren't gonna listen. So I just
I
deleted
just
it. It was like, nope, not doing it.
It's definitely like a case by case thing, right? But
Right.
no, if there's something that I feel like I can contribute to, educate somebody, or have advice, whatever, then
Right.
I, like I said, I feel like I should,
Right.
especially because I'm not burned out with it yet.
Yeah.
I've heard it a lot, right? Where seasoned keepers are just tired of the bullshit.
Yeah.
see, and
Yeah,
that's
That candle's burning at
that-
both ends, brother. It's coming.
yeah. But I mean, that's really unfortunate because the more people that end up leaving, I mean, I'm guilty of this myself because I'm Facebook groups are not my thing, and I mean, I'm in a handful of them, but I'm not active really in most of them, even my own. But the more people that sort of jump that ship leaves it wide open to the people that are just throwing out information with zero basis behind it. That's sort of the issue. But with the corn snake groups in particular, man, I just couldn't handle the irony anymore because you'd have someone posting a picture of like a baby in a 6-quart tub, which is fine, like no big deal.
More
They
than
would
adequate.
get absolutely crucified because it wasn't in a 40-gallon tank with 20 hides and a bunch of freaking flea market bullshit inside of it.
Dude,
but then someone posts a picture of a snake that is morbidly obese, and everyone's like, "No, it's fine.
It's good."
It's like, is it because it's in a 40-gallon that it's okay that it's fat? Like, is that somehow going to save it from dying early?
Yeah.
I think not.
Yeah. I think the biggest corn snake one that I saw was some girl like had a baby, mind you, in some it was a tank. It wasn't an Exoterra, but it was kind of built like an Exoterra. It was like an 18 by 18 by so tall. Right. And the setup was fine. It had some hides, some fake plants, whatever. And she's like, "Oh, is my corn snake okay in here?" And she just got torn to absolute shreds for not having a warm side hide, a cool side hide, enough fake plants, fake branches everywhere, all this stuff. And I was like, "Oh
fake
my
plants
god!"
with a bunch of fake dyes in them and silk plants and
right. Dude, it killed me, man.
Honestly, I mean that's why I don't post enclosure photos or anything.
No, never.
I learn from the mistakes of others. I'm not.
I noticed it more so in the corn groups in particular. It was especially pervasive.
because there's
like all the other groups for the most part, I don't see that.
Because it's because they're a snake that a lot of people keep, and they're looked at as beginner snakes, and because they should be. They're easy to take care of. And a lot of people have gotten their start with corn snakes, and that's
first of all
fantastic.
They're called noodles.
Oh my god!
You will refer to them as such.
I will assault you.
And if you don't poop, what are you even doing?
I mean, is it okay to call them nope ropes too, or?
If you're scared of them, I guess, sure. I don't, whatever. Again.
So this has been episode 2 of 3 of the Herpeticulture podcast.
I just like the people that keep like gaboons and stuff, and they're like, "Check out my spicy noodle." Blow out your kidneys, bitch.
Spicy noodle is gonna make you bleed out of every orifice you have, motherfucker. Good lord.
You ever cried blood? You're gonna. Hope you like your pee coming out brown like Coca-Cola.
Hey, I've had that. Gosh. It's not fun. Okay.
Dude, if I started pissing blood at any point in my life, I'm gonna start screaming.
Dude, I was out my last bout.
Scary.
My last bout with a kidney stone, I was actually out herping. I was by myself in the middle of the woods, and I had to take a leak. And it was like, so sometimes if there's blood in your urine, it'll come out brown. Like, if you've ever dealt with kidney stones, you know this. I went and took a piss, and it was dark red. Like, straight red.
Start crying.
Did you think you were going to die?
Dude, well, no, because I know what I'm doing at this point. Like, I knew it was probably a kidney stone moving. I immediately went back to my truck and left and went to the doctor, but it was like blood red, and I was like, "Oh, that's bad. That's like a lot of blood." Because normally, if it's like if there's some blood, it's just really dark brown, like it's weird. But if it's like filled with blood, it's red. It's red. It is not pleasant.
Yeah.
Billy Hunt knows what I'm talking about.
He brought his kidney stone club.
Yeah, me and Billy are kidney stone brothers.
Presidents of the
I don't wish that on anybody.
The Kidney Stone Society.
Pretty much, man. I tell you, it is not fun.
The Youngbloods Kidney Stone Club. No one under 40 is a
No one over 40, man. This is the young blood kidney stone group. Oh God. Yeah. I got my first kidney stone when I was like
10,
17, I think.
Oh,
like I was young, man. Like, yeah, it was rough. 17 or 18, I think I got my first one. I woke up and felt like somebody put a knife in my side and kicked me in the balls. Not fun.
Yeah.
I'm
very grateful that I haven't had to experience that.
Water, my friends. Water.
Yeah. My my wife's uncle struggles with kidney stones constantly. You know what I mean? And man, I feel for people. I feel for you, Jake.
It'll bring a grown man to his knees.
Oh, imagine being the first guy in history to get him and not knowing what's going on. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's no, I don't. Not a fun thing. It was funny when I got my first one. It was right out. No, I was older. I was maybe. I think it was right after college when I got my first one. No, I was in college. That's right. I was home while I was in college, and I had it. And the first thing my doctor asked me, he goes, "You drink a lot of sweet tea?" I was like, "Yeah."
It's a lot.
Yeah, I was like, "Yeah, about a solid gallon every 3-4 days."
6-pack of 40s.
Yeah, I drank sweet tea like crazy in college, and he's like, "Yep, don't do that anymore. No more sweet tea." And I was like, "Okay."
Say, what about unsweet?
No. I allow myself 1, maybe 2 sodas a day, and they are Sprite. That is it. No caffeine and clear. That is the one soda I'm allowed to drink.
Are clear.
You have more to worry about with kidney stones drinking monsters like that, buddy. Trust me. I'm the poster child of why.
Yeah, I'm in the energy drink club, so.
Yeah, I am the poster child of why you should not have energy drinks.
I think you just got
very
crappy
sugary
genes. I think that's it. I think that's all. What if in 30 years we find out that Atrox bites have a direct correlation to kidney stone problems? And that Atrox got the last laugh saying, not only is your finger going to be stiff forever, but now you also get the eternal damnation of kidney stones until you're dead.
Joke's on you. I got my first kidney stone before my Atrox bite, so you can blow me.
The venom just exacerbated the condition.
Yeah, pretty much. Just made it worse. Yeah, tried me out. No, I was actually severely hydrated when I was in the hospital for that. They had me linked up to fluids. I didn't drink water for like 4 days because I was peeing like crazy. No, I was
straight to the vein, man.
Yeah, man, I was straight in. I was. They hooked me up, but
you mean they did their job?
Yeah.
Weird.
They actually did it pretty well too. Didn't lose my finger.
I mean, you're alive, so
yeah. I got all my appendages. So
all's well that ends well.
Yeah.
That's a win.
Yeah. No. Although the worst part of it though was having to tell every new nurse that was studying in the town I was in, studying nursing. I had to tell them the story every single time a new one walked in, which was every time that someone walked in my room.
You should have just recorded it and played it for him or something. Here,
That would
listen to
actually
this.
been super smart. That would have
Or
been the thing
have
to do.
one of them record it and be like, please tell your classmates, give them this recording.
Yeah.
For the love of God, I'm trying to sleep.
Dude, it was horrible.
It's all right. I had when I was 18, I was in a motorcycle accident and was in the hospital for like 10 days. And I had this.
Jake was
hole.
also in a motorcycle accident once.
Yeah,
was it?
In my driveway.
Oh, shut up! You're a dick for that one. Anyways, Jeremy, continue. 10 days hospital. Just a
yeah.
dick.
So I had just finished my second skin graft surgery, and so for the first time in like 4 or 5 days, I was actually able to sleep, without being in an immense amount of pain. Well, I had this hole in my calf from I don't know the peg or something. It looked like you took an ice cream scooper and just scooped out the muscle.
Oh God!
So I'm asleep for the first time in like 4 days, and this intern doctor, right? He probably was just out of freaking med school or something. I wake up because he is fingering the hole in my leg. He said he needed to know how.
Can you
deep
feel
it was.
this? Is this tender?
What?
Be even weirder if he asked you if you liked
Golly. It's like I was seeing if you were gonna pop a chub when I did.
it. This is good for you as it was for me.
Oh my gosh! But hey, why was he doing this?
I feel like I'm back in college again.
He needed to know how deep it was. I said it's fucking
Why
deep,
not?
dude. So yeah.
Deep enough.
Sir, if you do not get your finger out of my leg, I will have to strangle you with my IV cable.
No,
Dude, he was like,
you
he
wake
was
up.
like second knuckle deep in my calf. You know what I mean?
You wake up. He's zipping up his pants. He's like, "Yeah, that's a solid 4 inches."
Damn, that thing is deep.
I'm glad my friend was there to make sure that didn't happen. So.
Oh my god. Woo.
Yeah.
It'd be even worse if he wasn't a doctor. Just dressed up like one. Just a weirdo.
Honestly,
Yeah,
dude,
Goes from room to room. How deep is this?
He could have been. Could have just been a janitor that wanted to go, play doctor.
What if he got in there and was like, "Ee, can you feel that?"
Gee whiz, man.
So,
Well, now for the important question, do you still have a bike or do you not ride anymore?
no, so I actually rebuilt that bike and drove it for the next 2 years.
Nice.
I ended up having to get rid of it for legal reasons.
Oh God.
Yeah. But
That's all I'm going to say about that.
I have a bike now, but I want to get another one. So.
No, you don't have one now?
No, not currently. Can't afford it, man.
I thought about getting
Man,
one.
All my extra money goes to snakes,
I don't think I'd actually ride it as much as I think I would, and then I also do not trust 99.9% of the people around me on the roads, as is in a car, let alone on a bike.
Yeah, no, that's the issue. I mean, I've had some close calls, with, from other drivers. But it's I mean, if I could have a bike today, I'd have one for sure. I'd go out and get one if I could. I definitely miss it.
The closest call I've had since I got because the bike I have now is my second bike, and the closest call I've had was actually just on Monday. I almost hit a guy on a bicycle. he just came beat bopping. You know, we were both going the same way, but he was riding his bike against traffic. And there was a car coming. He just beat bopped over into my lane. We're in the middle of the damn road, and I almost wrecked his shit, dude. It was not pleasant.
Yeah.
But my bike now also has a much lower center of gravity than my original one, so I don't have to drop it in Justin's driveway again. He literally watched me from the window and just laughed. His roommate popped out, asked if I was okay.
So hard.
Yeah, I fell and then I couldn't pick up. I could barely pick up my 700-pound motorcycle.
I can see it in my head, clear as day.
That was fucked up, dude.
What do you ride now?
I've got a 2014 Yamaha Bolt. So it's like a bobber style.
Yeah.
Old school looking. It's a 950.
Nice. Yeah, that's something that's probably like the style I'm kind of looking at. You know, if I get another one. What I had was a 07 R6. So.
Oh yeah, baby. Those things will move, man. I can't do sport bikes, man. I can't. You can't give me that much speed. That's
why I had to get rid of it.
Yeah. Yeah, for legal reasons. Yeah.
They were just mad because they couldn't catch me.
Jeremy knows the old drop a gear, disappear, man. You know, that's
and especially when it's cammed and you got the ECU flashed and everything. Yeah,
Yeah. No, my bike definitely, don't get me wrong, my bike's quick, like off the line. It's got a lot of pull, but it's definitely not a speedster at a high speed. If I do 80, it's screaming. Yeah. I mean, that's all I need, man. Yeah.
It's fun. I got the the speed demon out of me when I was younger, so.
Yeah. No, I grew up on dirt bikes and four wheelers, and I definitely wrecked enough of those to know I don't want to do it on asphalt. So no, my bike now is perfect, man. It's it's got it's low profile, it's a small bike, it's easy to maneuver. I can walk that thing. I push it up into my garage. It's really light, and I love my motorcycle, dude. It's my baby. Now it's cold, and she stays in the garage. And it makes me sad because I can't ride if it's under 70. If it's under 70, I can't.
Oh really?
Oh yeah, dude, I'm freezing my tail off. Especially at night. If it's during the day, if it's like a high sun, no clouds, 65, I can do that. But 65 at night, no sir. No sir.
There were times where I'd be bundled up and I'd have to throttle with my left hand. So I could stick my right hand into the fairing on the toilet pipe so I could warm my hand up.
Yeah, no, see, I can't do that. The most I do is because I work at a restaurant part-time and it was cold. When I first bought it, I was riding home and it was 50-something degrees out. That was terrible, but I'm not doing that this year. But I would ride and I would just put my hand under my shirt and just hold on with just one hand, just sit there and be like, all right, my right hand's going to be really cold. But... yeah, no, it sucks. But
nerd.
Yeah, man, gotta get another bike.
I do. Yeah, I miss it, man. I really do.
Tell you what, man, those bolts aren't that expensive, man. They're really not. They're
I have to look into that, man, because that's exactly the kind of style I'm looking for. That old school.
I have to shoot
street bob, sir.
Yeah, I'll show you. I'll send you a picture when we hang up of mine. I paid. Thing had 7,000 miles on it. I only paid $5,000 for it. So
that's nothing.
No, dude. Yeah, 2014 runs like new. It's great.
Yeah, so, that's awesome.
Awesome. I'll send you a picture. But tangent over about motorcycles, even though they are awesome. We are past the 2-hour mark. Smitty, do we have any closing remarks or questions for Mr.
you talk
Hicks?
about how awesome motorcycles are, but clearly you've never taken a ride on a Razor scooter.
I actually did. Me and Kayla rented those little scooters you can zip around in
Oh, the ones they
Gainesville.
like litter all over the towns and
Yeah,
stuff that people
yeah,
just randomly pick up.
The
yeah.
Vios or whatever.
No, the ones we rented were birds. They're
Probably
called
drives
birds.
homeless people crazy that they can't just
Yeah.
hop on one and take off.
Me and Kayla rented 2 of those while we were in Gainesville last weekend. We were beat bopping around downtown Gainesville. It was pretty fun. It's a good time. But, all right, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Again, everybody check out Nomad Reptiles on Instagram. You got to post more, man.
Yeah, man.
You gotta post more.
Yeah, I was talking with Justin about that earlier too. Yeah, I'm so bad about posting photos and stuff.
I'm the same way, dude. I haven't posted in months, I don't think.
Yeah.
But gotta get on it, man. You got a lot of cool shit.
Yeah.
So
I think so. Yeah.
yeah, for sure, man. So everybody go give Jeremy a follow. Don't miss out on all the cool stuff he's got coming up. And as always, give a follow and a check out on the website of blackboxcages.com. They have the best of the best in PVC cages and racks and just all around equipment on the market right now. I was just about to say it. Best lead times in the business. They are bar none. You're looking at 2 to 3 weeks max right now. So it's best of the best, and you're not gonna. We will put the THP and THN name behind it. You will love anything you get from them. Super high quality.
You use the THN name at checkout.
Yes.
10% off your order.
Yes. A little something off the top. Shipping's always good. They also have a pickup option. If you are anywhere near the
North Georgia area.
Yeah, North Georgia area. We drive from South Carolina. It's 100% worth it. Plus you get to meet them and talk to them in person, and they're amazing people. So if you're willing to make a little bit of drive, definitely pickup is definitely worth it. So check them out. And then, of course, the man who's been with us from the beginning, Steve Snaketuary with Steve's Snaketuary and Steve Snaketuary's Venom Hot Sauce. Get the whole set. Check them all out. They are delicious. Gotta collect them all, man. They're like Pokemon cards. Gotta get them. They're great. Steve's an awesome dude. He's been with us for a long time now. We're super grateful for him and his support. So definitely go give him a follow. Check out his website and all that he's doing. Doing some awesome stuff out in the Louisiana area. And of course, last but not least, check out Volvius Apparel with my good friend Justin Smith of Palmetto Coast Exotics.
Hey.
He's got the coolest gear in herpetoculture right now. And you will love anything you get from him. I have a ton of shirts from him. Everything's super high quality. So go find something you like. If you like the Panthero for shirt, you should also get one of those because one of my personal pictures is on that shirt. So it's a personal favorite, and obviously obsolete for life. So
no affliction or tap out type merch here.
Nope. If you're a reptile nerd, you will love his stuff. So definitely check him out. Give his page a follow. Check out his website. I don't remember what you're using for a website, but
I'm using the internet. What are you talking about?
Well, I thought there was like a certain company that you used for it.
I use Shopify.
Shopify, that's it. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just fulviusapparel.com. Also use code THN at checkout. THN listeners and viewers like you get that exclusive 15% off.
Yes. He does not publicize that. So if you are listening to this, you're the only people that are going to hear it. So check it out.
Gotta get some sort of plan for a Black Friday type sale or something here with the holidays coming up. Still got to get some hoodies up, and then I'm probably gonna get some beanies made. And I'm thinking I'm gonna do some sort of deal where you buy a hoodie, you get a beanie. Kind of.
There you go.
We'll see.
I was gonna say for shirts, you should do like a buy two get one free type of thing. So
yeah, I was thinking something along those lines, but
something like that.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
got a little bit of time.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to yet another episode of THP. Jeremy, thank you so much for joining us tonight, my friend.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. It was awesome.
Yeah,
absolutely. We'll be back Monday night for Snakes and Stogies. 183, 184.
I think you guys are 184.
I think so too. Can't keep up. I don't remember. But yeah, thank you all. We'll see you later.
Yep. Good night.
Peace.